Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Talking Packers with Steve. Um, it is about that time to start. I know I was technically here in the chat 30 minutes early, prepping, getting everything ready, making sure I had everything set, so I'm not flipping through things and wasting your guys' precious time that are watching live or archived, looking for matchups or looking for topic points or whatever I wanted to do. That I have it, and this episode can go fluid and well as it should. Also to share, I did start up a YouNow page. I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not, but it's younow.com/army underscore strong underscore 06, which is my personal Twitter handle. So you can check that out. I'll probably be doing another one tomorrow. Just seeing how things work over there and seeing if it would be beneficial to me to be over there as well. But that doesn't mean I'm going away from YouTube. This is my um, mainstay here. This is where I want to build subscribers, build a fan base, and with the intention of being able to have more and more people to join in the discussion, people to click on the link that I tweeted out at the Twitter handle you see in the banner there at Talking underscore Packers, and you can see by my icon there with the Packer logo and the pink ribbon. This month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The NFL every year, does something in regards to that. NFL players in the NFL itself. I know the WWE does the same, and I'll have that icon, for the WWE, like here with the Packers, for my WWE podcast, Steve's Wrestling Ramble. But specifically to the NFL, um, I appreciate what they do. I know many people here watching, and just many people in general, obviously around the world, know somebody, or you yourself, um, and all the women out there. Um, all the women watching this video, or all the women that watch NFL or WWE, out there that yourselves battled breast cancer and won, and as a survivor, I commend you because I know people in my family that have, um, and um, and yeah, um, this month and this awareness and everything that goes along with it is big to me because of that personal aspect that has to do with me, and I'm sure many others that know somebody or you yourself, as I said, have gone through it. There may be a family member, friend, or whatever the situation. Um, you understand everything they went through, and even you as a supporter, go through a lot as well. Not as much as the person actually going through it, obviously, but still, being there for their family member and everything like that. So I just wanted to start off this tonight's episode with that. Um, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so all the women out there that are watching here, don't forget, um, get those mammograms checked. Early detection, biggest thing. I don't mean to be preaching about anything and not anything that anybody doesn't know, but just my 2 cents and my do my part. Here is being quote unquote part of the media now and just being part of YouTube and doing this podcast. I felt like take a serious moment out here. Might as well be in the beginning. Talk about something that is serious, that is bigger than football, bigger than my YouTube channel, bigger than making picks for another NFL week. Something that impacts people's lives. That's real. That is, like I said, serious. So, like I said, I just want to share that and commend the NFL and the WWE and all other sports entities and companies that do something incongruent and along with Stephen G. Coleman Foundation and breast cancer awareness here in the month of October. On a lighter note, it's the unofficial start to the 2015 holiday season, at least in my eyes. I'm sure to others it's not, but to me it is. Like for me, my holiday season starts October 1st. October 1st to January 1st, kind of works nicely that way, I guess. First to the first. Just because, I like to put Halloween in there with Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, part of the holiday spirit. I mean, heck, I think I watched something on the news, I think maybe last year or a couple weeks ago, whenever it was, talking about how people at least lately in the past few years, have been spending more money on Halloween decorations for their home than for Christmas. So maybe that was just a blip, not a trend, but that's something. But to me, like I said, Halloween, it being fall also in October, this is the time with the perfect weather, at least here in Wisconsin for me personally. Like if I could have a utopia of a weather um, where I live here, I would want it to be like 56 to 68 degrees year round. Um, because you have, as I call it, you have the right combination of sunshine and wind, sunshine and breeze. Which I don't know, it's just to me, just peaceful, nice weather there, and good temperatures. Like I said, you know, 54, 56 to 68 temperature there. But anyway, so unofficially, happy holidays um, to you and your family from me, Steve, and from my YouTube channel. So let's get into it. NFL season, first quarter is up. Um, Now starting the second quarter of the NFL season, going into then obviously the midway point. Week 4 last week being what it was. I mean, as I look here from the results of everything, I think the only thing that surprised me out of any of these games, besides the Rams beating the Arizona Cardinals, that did surprise me. I thought Arizona, with their defense, um, pretty much destroying the competition in the first 3 weeks. I thought they would do the same with the Rams, even with it being a divisional game. Like, I respect the Rams, sure, but I thought the way that Arizona was playing, them being on a roll, I just assumed that they would roll over the Rams, and obviously that didn't happen. So, but besides that, I think the biggest surprise was the Oakland Chicago game. I mean, seriously, come on now. As someone, as I've said in past episodes, that I thought Oakland and Tampa Bay, but maybe now more so Oakland, as it seems, is really going to become something this year. They're going to make their mark. They're going to show that they're not the Raiders of old. They're not a team to be laughed at. Not a team to um, be looked at on the schedule as an automatic win. Also, not to be looked for fantasy football players out there as an automatic play if you have a player that's facing the Raiders. Okay, the Raiders are trying to become something. I think they slowly are. Now, is it going to happen overnight? No, it's going to take game time. Just like with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think the Jaguars, even more so the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, are making strides in the right direction. At the beginning of the season, obviously, I wasn't thinking that way because with Jameis Winston being in the fold, being the number one pick, going to Tampa with the weapons that he had, Austin Stefano, Jenkins, and and all the other, and his receiving core especially. And fun, you thought that Jameis and the Bucks will be doing something. Maybe it might happen later in the season, but that might be too late for them to even try to get into the playoffs. You never know. You never know with the NFC. So, but no, the Raiders specifically, their game against Chicago. That's a game where you prove yourself, prove to yourself. With the guys there in that locker room, you prove yourself to Raiders, to your Raiders nation, who obviously I know one of them for Raiders Central YouTube channel, um, but to Raider Nation that you are turning a corner in the franchise, that this is not going to be another downtrot Raider season. And you're also proving it to the NFL fans in general, non Raiders fans, which is NFL fans, that the Raiders are someone to mess with, or someone not to mess with. More so, actually, would be the phrase that they're not. They're not saying they're going to be the bullies, but they're not going to be pushed around either. And looking ahead here into Week 5, and I'll get to it when it's time to pick, but here shortly. But this game against Denver is going to be a lot closer than you think. And as of right now, it might be leaning toward a Raider upset, which, if you think about it, might not be as much as an upset as you think, because Derek Carr against Peyton Manning isn't as much as a mismatch, in my opinion, as most people think. Yeah, Peyton Manning has the years on Derek Carr. That's for dang sure. But in the styles and the way they play and how Derek Carr has matured since his rookie season, so to speak, I think he's close to Peyton Manning's level, at least in that kind of play, at least in that kind of thinking. Than you think. I know I'm sure Glass of Team Boy TV, more specifically with Get With Sports, but also part of Team Boy TV Live every Wednesday evening, might disagree with what I'm saying here, but again, that's just my opinion, and I respect his, obviously. But I think that I'm not saying Derek Carr is better than Peyton Manning, no, but I'm saying that the comparison between those two, from what I've been seeing and reading on Twitter or on Facebook fan pages, NFL fan pages, and whatnot, leading up here to Week 5, and I mean not just from Bronco fans, just from NFL fans, thinking that Peyton Manning's high above Derek Carr. You're only basing that because of his tenure in the NFL. I'm not saying that's not part of it, but it's 2015, okay? If you're gonna, going into this week, going into a one-on-one matchup, Denver Broncos versus Oakland Raiders, 2015, Week 5. I understand where you're coming from in trying to think and being part of your argument, saying that Peyton's high above Derek Carr. This isn't your father's Peyton Manning, or this isn't your childhood's Peyton Manning. More specifically, with some NFL fans, this isn't your childhood's Peyton Manning playing anymore. In that same vein, I'm not saying he lost everything. I mean, Peyton Manning is still good, but he's not. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the right way to say it and not sound condescending, but it's just that he's just not. He's not what he was. Like I said, it's 2015. Not when he came into the league. It's a different time. It's a different Peyton Manning and Derek Carr. And if you're going to compare them now between Derek Carr here in his second year and Peyton Manning and what I'm going to assume, just me, his final year in the NFL, then I think Derek Carr is much closer to Peyton Manning in comparison than most think. And I think you can look at stats, you can look at how they're playing, you can look at what they have around them with running backs and wide receivers and what they're working with and how they do with what they're working with here in the beginning of the season and then obviously moving forward. But as of right now, that I think Derek Carr is much closer to Peyton Manning in comparison than most believe. But in this matchup, who do you think has the upper hand, Peyton Manning or Derek Carr? It's a for this, again, it has to go with the matchup. It has to go with what's going on here in Week 5, not what happened in the past. The Raiders of the past, Peyton Manning of the past is the past. This is the 2015 season. You should be judging both of them, or anybody, not just this situation, but any players in the NFL in any matchup or team matchup, or you're basing it on what it is right now, obviously, and that's what you should do. And that's what I do. Now, if I don't, I'm sure someone will let me know, but I try to keep it to what it is now and not trying to base my opinion from the past teams, from the past, how the player was in the past. I'm not saying I haven't. I'm sure I've slipped up and talked about something in the past, bringing it into a matchup and whatever, but I'm just saying that's just how you have to think about it. I don't know. Just give Derek Carr more credit, Broncos fans. I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying for the small minority there that are fellow Bronco fans like Glasses, that this isn't going to be a cakewalk. You're not going to be, walking there in Oakland against a black hole there in Raider Nation and thinking you're just going to walk all over them. So, I don't know. I just want to share that. Just my piece about that. I guess since I'm already talking about it, I will give my prediction for that game first. It is an afternoon game. Like I said, it's Glasses, Denver Broncos, Glass of Team Boy TV Live. and just specifically with him, Get With It Sports. He has his own YouTube channel, so shout out to him. His Denver Broncos against Raiders Central, also on YouTube. Oakland Raiders, of course. Raiders Central, his Oakland Raiders. So Broncos at Oakland here, week 5. I'm going to be honest here. I'm going to be cheering for the Oakland Raiders. Like, cheering hard for the Oakland Raiders. Almost as hard as I'm going to be, and, with a passion as I cheer for my Green Bay Packers. Each and every week, I'm going to be cheering for the Raiders to get this win. Not just because it's Peyton Manning, not because it's the Denver Broncos, but because of what the Oakland Raiders can become. And I think that this year could be their year to make improvements, maybe make the playoffs and whatever. But with predictions, I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos to survive another week, because they survived this past week against the Minnesota Vikings. And I think they are going to do it again against the Oakland Raiders. And I'm going to go 23-21 Denver Broncos, last second field goal. I'm sorry, Oakland. It's going to happen to you twice. But don't worry. You pick yourself up and you kick butt in the next week and the weeks following. Next, where I should begin, Thursday Night Football tomorrow night. Thursday Night Football on NFL Network and CBS. We have Stephen A. Stephen A. He's a co-host of mine for Talking WWJ podcast here on YouTube. His Indianapolis Colts against the Houston Texans. The Texans, they have the playmakers that they should have, especially on defense. And I heard earlier on Team Boy TV Live with Big Q, Glass, and JB talking about the Texans and what they have, and they're not playing up to par. And I think the biggest thing that hurt them was the decision regarding Andre Johnson and him now with the Colts actually coming back to Houston now in this game, which is going to be a big thing for him. I actually see him maybe even having a big game, which reminds me maybe I should start him on one of my 10 fantasy football leagues I'm in on NFL and ESPN.com. But in regards to the game and with the Houston Texans, they were talking about with the defensive players and the people on the roster that people then thought in the offseason that Houston was supposed to become something. Like this is a year maybe Houston could even throw in the Colts. And with the Colts, how they started off all stone cold, so to speak, or just ice cold, that maybe that could be the case, that Houston could have taken the spot, but they themselves didn't do hot. Now Adrian Foster's back, just like Adrian Peterson was back for the Vikings. I mean, Arian Foster, not Adrian Foster. Arian Foster, I do apologize. But Arian Foster's back. You still have that menacing defensive guy named J.J. Watt from the Wisconsin Badgers. And you thought that maybe Houston was supposed to become something, but they're just not a good team. And even I myself shake my head like, why? You have all these playmakers on defense and on offense even. I mean, heck, you even picked up Cecil Shorts, who was one of the best wide receivers Jacksonville had last year. And I should know, I had him as a late-round pick in one of my leagues in fantasy football, and he did well for me. And whatever, so that's the only reason I remember that. But you picked him up, even though you got rid of Andre Johnson. I don't know if that's the right kind of trade-off. But still, in the end, you got Cecil Shorts, third, and other positive receivers. But you know what it is? And I'm sure everybody else has said this too. Quarterback. You want to have a good team, you got to have a good quarterback in Houston. I'm sorry. But Ryan Mallett just ain't going to cut it. Maybe he'll show me. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. Maybe he'll throw 4 touchdowns, throw for 300 yards, and the Colts will look like a JV high school team. I don't know. Maybe you'll embarrass them. But in my opinion, I don't think he's the answer. I don't think anybody on that roster at quarterback is the answer, in my opinion, there in Houston. So if you want things to change around there in Houston, I think you need to pick up yourself a quarterback. And no, I'm not saying Tim Tebow, but I'm saying somebody else that's out there that maybe you should take a look at and just maybe bring in at least for a tryout. I mean, come on, Houston. You want to try to turn around your season? You want to not give up on your franchise, on your fan base? That would be a way to show you care. So, but I'm gonna go with the Indianapolis Colts over the Houston Texans, 24-7, winning there on the road handily Thursday night football. Now we go into the Sunday games. First we batch up. We start with the noon games. The Chicago Bears against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Bears might have won last week, but you know, a dead clock's right every, twice a day, I guess as the phrase goes. So I don't think the Bears are going to be much this year, and I don't see them getting a win here against Kansas City. Kansas City, a much better team than many thought. They got their first passing touchdown by a wide receiver a couple weeks ago against us, the Green Bay Packers, on Monday Night Football. So that was kind of cool. I mean, in the end, we won the game. The Packers did, but it's kind of nice. I guess they got that thing finally off their back in that streak. But anyways, I got the Chiefs over the Bears, 27-14. What I think could be game of the week: Seattle Seahawks against the Cincinnati Bengals. And I do believe Cincinnati is still an undefeated Cincinnati Bengals against Seattle Seahawks team that started off slow. People thinking, "Oh, are the Seattle Seahawks dead in the water? Are they not going to be able to turn it around?" Well, I think they did, and I think the emergence of Cam Chancellor coming back in the fold was one, not the main, but one of the main things that helped that happen. And I think they're going to keep it rolling against a Bengal team and Andy Dalton that, almost like Jay Cutler, has those as Skip Bayless, or not Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith says about Tony Romo, an accident waiting to happen. Well, Andy Dalton, that might be the case for him, especially against the Ball Hawks of Norcam's Seattle Seahawks, who is a YouTuber and mega fan of the Seahawks. I'm sure most of you know of him. But I have the Seahawks over the Bengals. I have the final score 35-17. Seahawks over the Bengals. Next up, Washington team against the Atlanta Falcons, going on the road against the Falcons. I think the Falcons, I just think this one's going to be a blowout, in all honesty. I mean, I respect the Redskins to kind of win over the Eagles, but then again, what are the Eagles? The Eagles are in their own disarray, and I'll talk about them when we get to their matchup. But here, I think Atlanta going to continue on their roll, and Washington just has to be the victim. It is what the schedule is. So I have Atlanta rolling and staying undefeated, beating the Washington Redskins 42-17, and most of those points coming in the fourth quarter for Washington, in my opinion. And obviously, that's all this is. It's my opinion, it's my thoughts. It is my podcast. So, Jacksonville Jaguars at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This could be a game of the week in a different way, so to speak. You people, you guys already know my interest in somewhat infatuation with what they used to call the bottom feeders of the NFL, with Jaguars, Buccaneers, Browns, Raiders, teams like that, and how I want them to become something, how I want them to be up there and battling to be the best in the NFL or best in their conference. However, so having matchups like this is actually interesting to me. Yeah, I know a lot of other people are saying, "Oh, it should be the coin toss game of the week or whatever," just because they are what people think they are. But to me, I'm intrigued by this stuff. I'm intrigued by Jaguar Buccaneer matchups or Raiders Browns matchups, as there was last week. I think it was last week, or whatever that was, or any other combination. Jaguars Browns, Buccaneers Raiders, whatever. Because to me, it's a dogfight for them, trying to become something, trying to grow, and give their fan base something to cheer about. And I think, I hope more than I think. I hope that these four franchises turn around in the next couple of years, if not maybe for the Jaguars and Raiders specifically this year. Turn around and maybe make the playoffs, maybe be contenders. Maybe you have the Buccaneers actually get into the playoffs, maybe facing my Packers in week 1. Yeah, we might beat them. Obviously, cheering for my Packers. But at least they got there. At least they're making the strides. At least they're taking that next step, and then they can feed off that for the next season. But then again, you can say that about every team. But I'm specifically talking about those teams. Um, and that. So, anyways, Jaguars at Buccaneers. I'm going to actually go with the road team this time, the Jacksonville Jaguars. As I said, the Jaguars and the Raiders. I think they're another two out of those four that have a chance to do something this season. So I'm going to go with the Jaguars over the Buccaneers. I'm going to go low scoring. I'm going to go. I'm going to go 13-3 Jaguars. Jaguars over the Buccaneers, 13-3. Next, New Orleans Saints at the Philadelphia Eagles, and here we go. Philadelphia Eagles, Chip Kelly, the mess, the man, the myth, so non-legend, the genius who thinks that his way or the highway is going to work, and he's going to be stubborn to the core. Um, Kicking and screaming. If he is let go, which I do think will happen if Philadelphia keeps going on a downward trend, but I think they might. But he's not gonna change. He's gonna be him. He's gonna do him. He's gonna do it the way that he thinks is best. But I'm sorry, sir, it just isn't. And I think I know a lot of Philadelphia fans, EDP and Philadelphia specifically, even the Archfiend, who also is on YouTube, does videos, um, have expressed that in their most recent videos on their YouTube channels, as I've viewed myself a couple of times. Um, that that even they're still giving up on their team, and they're diehard fans of their team, of that team, the Eagles. It's just, I think for them, I think it's more just frustration on what this team could have been, on what this team should have been. And with Chip Kelly coming in with the point office he had in Oregon, maybe equating it some of that with the Eagles, but also being able to understand that you have to work with the pieces that you have on your team and try to make that into something. You can't just take what you have from Oregon and just plop it here in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles and think things are just going to work the exact same way. I'm sorry. That's just not going to be the case. It doesn't work that way. I mean, yeah, you can use some of it. Yeah, you can, try to implement what you call your genius and running a couple of plays that you did in Oregon. But you know what? If you really wanted to do that, in all honesty, if that was your main objective, then you and the management there in Philadelphia should have then went up and got Marcus Mariota, or Marcus Mariotto, as the commissioner called him there on draft night. But Marcus Mariota, you guys should have went up and got him and drafted him if that's exactly what Chip Kelly had, or if that's what Chip Kelly had planned to do using the Oregon offense. Then what's better than using the quarterback that obviously already knows that system, already knows that way of play, and would have been best for business for the Eagles to then draft him and then incorporate him on the offense. You got Nelson Aguilar coming from USC. And maybe the way they do things, the way they do things, maybe a little bit different from what Oregon is. Fine, but he's still a speedy receiver. He's still at his game, obviously. Obviously, they wouldn't have drafted him where they drafted him. But if you wanted the best in that way, then you should have done that. And also him being stingy on, cutting some of these players and go putting only people, that goes Chip's way, his way or the highway kind of thinking. It's gonna backfire. He's gonna crash and burn. I just have a feeling that's the way the Eagles are gonna go. Uh, I don't know. Maybe they'll prove me wrong, like the Houston Texans in their quarterback situation. But in my opinion, I doubt it. So in this game, Saints at Eagles, I have the Saints winning on the road, 24 14 24-14, 10-point win for the Saints on the road over the Eagles. The next game, we have the Cleveland Browns and JB of Team Boy TV Live. JB's Baltimore Ravens at home. Yeah, let's just say that JB's Ravens better win this game, or yeah, let's just keep it that way. They just better win this game. It doesn't have to be a blowout. It can be close, but they just have to get the win. However, because if they mess up, and Cleveland gets a win here, then not only the Ravens season pretty much done, but if I myself was a Ravens fan, I don't know if I would speaking too highly about them the next few weeks, no matter who they're facing next, because you just lost at home to the Browns, who I don't see as one of those four teams as I talked about improving this season, maybe in the future, but not this year. So I'm going to predict the Ravens and have them winning here. I have them winning 35-17 Ravens over the Browns. Next up, in the final noon game, well, actually not the final noon game, my Packers facing the Rams is the other one, but as you know, I keep that for last. But the other last one, the Buffalo Bills at the Tennessee Titans. This is an interesting matchup, actually. More interesting than I even thought it would be. I mean, the New York Giants went into Buffalo, and maybe the Buffalo Bills defense, I don't know, just made the Buffalo Bills defense look like crap in a way. Like where was the Bills defense from the past few weeks? Where was the Bills defense that I was expecting and predicted to see? I mean, I know Eli Manning is good and all, but I thought the Bills defense improved, and having Eli Manning coming in there, being a road game, being a game that the Giants kind of had to win and get there, that he might make some mistakes because of that. But that was not the case. But now they're on the road in Tennessee. I think they're going to get their bearings back. I have the Bills over the Tennessee Titans. Let's go 32-10. 32-10 Bills. I think they're gonna show what the Bills are supposed to be for the entire season in this one game. They're gonna bounce back. And you know who else is gonna bounce back here in the first afternoon game slate of games? Arizona Cardinals and facing the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, by the way, who should have won the past game because the whole non-call, this should have been a call. Ironically, it happened against Seattle. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk it happened in Seattle, going Seattle's way? I'm sure it's just ironic, not anything more than that. But it is what it is, and I think it definitely should have been called. I thought it should have been called, and I didn't even know the rule existed. You know what I mean? Like I was watching that play live as it happened when Calvin Johnson fumbled there at the 1/2 yard line or inch line, whatever, and KJ Choi or something like that, I think his name is, pushing the ball out of the end zone. I thought right then, there should be a flag, and the Lions should get the ball back. Now I don't know where they would have gotten back. Since, like I said, I didn't know that rule existed. I just thought in general that should have been called. I had a feeling maybe they would get it at the spot, the fumble, or maybe a little bit further back, meaning that there won't be any yards added to said penalty. The penalty is just that, that it was a legal bat and that the Lions retained possession at the spot of the fumble. So, but after learning that there is actually a rule of that illegal bat, even more so made me think that should have been the case, and the Lions would have at least had a chance to win the game. Doesn't mean they're going to. Maybe the defense of Seattle was going to truly show up then and stop them four consecutive times or however. That could have been the case, and Seattle could have still won. But at least Detroit would have had a chance, and that is what it is. But coming from that, over for Arizona, the first loss to the Rams, just a divisional game, but a game that they should have had. I'm going to go with Arizona over Detroit, showing what they're made of. 35-10. Yeah, 35-10 Arizona over Detroit. New England Patriots at the Dallas Cowboys. Now this is interesting, more so for things happening off the field than on the field, in my opinion. There's this certain guy coming back off suspension. I think you know who I'm talking about. I'm sure all of you have watched, whether it was on ESPN First Take or on Fox News 1 or wherever you get your NFL info on TV, that Greg Hardy had a few words to say. And I think it would have been smarter for him especially for coming off a suspension um, and everything that happened over the offseason for what he was accused of. That he should have, I don't know, should just zip the lip and had the field on, have his play on the field talk for him. You would think he'd be smart enough to do that, but I guess not. I don't know. And I'm sure Dallas Cowboy fans out there will vehemently, or strongly, because I can't say that word, but strongly disagree with me and thinking, oh, that was smart of him, or that's just trash talk and whatever. Well, in my opinion, I don't think it was. I think it was over um, uncalled for, unprofessional, and I think it was just him trying to get in Tom Brady's head, trying to rattle him into something because I think that's the only play Dallas has to win this game. Get him before the game even starts. Get him psychologically because New England and how they're playing, and even with the psychological warfare, do you really have you not learned anything from the Jets in the past few years? Do you really think that psychological warfare is going to work on Tom Brady? Do you really think it's going to work on the Patriots, especially this New England Patriots? As I talk about, how I try to make predictions and do stuff, comparing what's happening this year. So this 2015 New England Patriots, do you think that's going to work? I think it might even backfire more than it'll help. Because Tom Brady didn't need any more motivation than he already has with trying to deflate the whole NFL and kicking butt and taking names, going undefeated, and this time actually finishing it off and winning a Super Bowl. Unlike last time, after Spygate, in that situation, where they were rightfully accused, I will say, but this one they were strongly wrongfully accused. But point being that in itself was Tom Brady's motivation for the season. Now you want to give him added fuel to the fire, add him motivation for this one game against the Dallas Cowboy team that doesn't have Dez Bryant or Tony Romo. Heck, your Dallas Cowboy team there, Greg Hardy, is going to have those two great players. I do say they are good and great. I give respect to Tony Romo and Dez Bryant. They're actually a very good wide receiver, a quarterback combo in the NFL. So I respect them, but since they're not going to be playing this week or for the next couple of weeks moving forward, or especially this game specifically, I don't think he should have said that. I think Greg Hardy should have just been quiet. If you want to get a sack, then do a celebration or say something to Tom Brady then. Fine, you want to do that trash talk during the game, sure, that's fine. I mean, all players do it in different ways, sometimes in a more respectful way, but still, it's heat of the moment, playing the game. Players do that, so that would have been at least okay to me in my eyes. The way you did it here, trying to get psychological over whatever, I think that's just, I think personally that's just a sign of the Cowboys knowing that on paper or on that field, New England's going to smoke them. And if they want to try to get the psychological warfare being trying to make it the crux of the Patriots and thinking now you're in Tom Brady's head and he's going to throw passes that he might not usually do because he's upset of what Trey Hardy said. I don't think that'll be the case. Like I said, if anything, it'll make it even worse for him. But you never know. That's why they play the game. Maybe it'll be closer. Maybe Dallas will have a chance to win in the fourth quarter. All right, I've been wrong before, so but we'll see. But I just think, and in my opinion, I think it was not needed, and I think when the game is played there in the afternoon, um, New England's going to show up just as they have in the past. And heck, another thing too, they're fresh off a bye week. A bye week, I'm sure they didn't even want to have because of how much on a roll they were. So, with all that added in, sprinkled in there to that talk, I think this prediction is going to be pretty simple. This one could be your lock of the week. If you do confidence picks, this should be your 10, or however that works for you. Patriots over Cowboys, 45, 48 to 10. Patriots over Cowboys. I already made my prediction for the Broncos Raiders game. So Sunday Night Football on NBC, we have the 49ers against the Giants. The 49ers just a shell of their former self, losing all the players that they did lose in offseason. I had a feeling that they would be not good. I mean, that's why in my very first episode here for the 2015 season, when I predicted for the season, all right, San Francisco in last place in the division for a reason. And I think they're playing to that kind of caliber, and I think the Giants are going to be winning again. Now, it might not be in big fashion, but they're still going to get a good dominant win. Now, how do you get a dominant win when the game is still close? Well, you have a big lead and, San Francisco gets some touchdowns there in garbage time there in the fourth quarter. That makes the score look better than how the game really actually was played. So, and you've seen that all, through, you guys have seen that, how that works through the NFL seasons in the past or even earlier this year, where one team dominated another, but the score made it look like it actually was respectable, and maybe appear closer and more of an even match than it really was. So here I'm going to go with the New York Giants defeating the 49ers 28-17, but in somewhat of a dominating fashion. Monday Night Football on ESPN, Pittsburgh Steelers versus the San Diego Chargers. I think Big Ben, I think he's going to be out again. So you have Michael Vick. He has Philip Rivers. So Philip Rivers, I think, in himself has something to prove this season. With all the talk of the fans, media, and everything of his future. And I think specifically here on Monday night on the big stage, the show what he's made of, and I think San Diego's going to get the win over Pittsburgh. I'm going to go 21-13, San Diego over Pittsburgh, 21-13. And now back to the Green Bay Packers here. We have a noon game. St. Louis Rams heading into Green Bay. Now, if I remember correctly, and I'm sure I do, earlier tonight on Team Boy TV Live, and if you want to find out that channel to watch this evening's video or episode of theirs, I have their channel on the right side of here on my YouTube channel. If you go to my YouTube channel main page and look on the right side, I have four channels there that I am a part of in some way, in some form, because I will be a guest appearing on that show during Week 9 when Big Q's Carolina Panthers face my team, the Green Bay Packers. But anyways, you can find that channel, Team Point TV, there on there. But what was said earlier there, that Glass, for his upset special, picked the Rams over the Packers. I made a comment there in their own comment section there about that and whatever. But hey, that's his opinion. That's what he thinks. I'm not gonna make him change his mind. He's gonna think what he want to think, and I respect it and whatnot, and we move on. But I don't think so. I respect the Rams. I think they're a good team. They're a team in itself that's up and coming, but at least been up and coming at least in the last couple of years, and with the moves they made and draft picks as well during the offseason heading into the 2015 season, that they made strides to even be better and be on another level. But to think that the Rams are going to go into Green Bay, to Lambeau, and beat Aaron Rodgers, let's just put it this way. There's more of a likelihood that Aaron Rodgers is going to throw an interception at all in this game against the Rams than the likelihood of the Rams winning the game at all without an interception or with 3 interceptions. I just, obviously, I don't see either happening. Will it be a close game? Sure. I'm not saying we're going to blow the Rams out. I just don't think that the upset's going to happen. If I had to pick one, even though I already made my picks with scores and stuff, but if I had to pick one that could be an upset, is the one that, like I said, I'm going to be cheering hard for the Raiders to be an upset, and even that in itself shouldn't be as major as an upset as people think. And I explained, previously why that is. So, I'm sorry, guys, but I don't think that's going to happen. But hey, you never know. Sometimes you make those crazy predictions, whether it's me or anybody, not just him. Sometimes you get it right. Then the next week on the episode, you get to gloat about it. So that's it's a good thing, I guess. Good and bad things about trying to going out on a limb. But no, I think the Packers are going to beat the Rams. I do think it's going to be close. I'm going to go 24-14 Packers over the Rams. Packers staying undefeated themselves. Um, you know, shout out to Big Hugh, the host there of Team Boy TV Live Wednesday nights on his channel. His team has a bye week this week. I saw a couple other players on ESPN making the rounds, media stuff today on different shows. I hope that your Panthers, Big Hugh, stay undefeated when we get to week 9. I really do. I'm not saying that to been a bad thing. I'm just being honest. I hope they're undefeated. Obviously, I think my Packers will be undefeated still when we get to that point. And then we'll really see what the Carolina Panthers are made of in that one game. We'll see if they deserve to be where they are. Most people think that your team, their BQ, that your Carolina Panthers are the worst of the undefeated teams. Do I agree with that? I don't know. To be quite honest, I might think that the Bengals are, if they are still undefeated. I think they are might be considered the worst of the undefeateds, not the Panthers. But when we get to week 9, and if the Panthers are still undefeated, if my Packers are still undefeated, then we'll really see what the Panthers are made of. We'll really see if they do belong and do earn that respect from the NFL media or the NFL fans alike. So I think that's going to be a big test, and not just for the Panthers, but even for the Packers. I think more so for the Panthers than the Packers, obviously in what I said, but a little bit for the Packers as well. But definitely should be a good game when we get to that point, and hopefully it is 2 undefeated teams. Maybe they'll even move it, since that can be a flex play game or a flex game. Might move it to Sunday night. But I don't know if they're able to move it to Sunday or Monday night, because those are fixed throughout the whole year for scheduling, because of everything with NBC and ESPN that have Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football scheduling and getting their trucks there, for equipment and all that stuff that we sometimes don't think about. That plays into it as well. So maybe they can't move it there, but at least maybe they'll move the time to a main thing, being the game of the week, and it definitely should be the game of the week if both teams still are undefeated. I did tweet out the link for this episode. Too bad that nobody is able to join. I mean, I can't slight people on that. If you're not able to, you're not able to. But I did at least make the effort to invite people, and maybe next week we can have some people on, whether it's BQ, Glass, JB, Stephen A, Jay of Talking WJ, whoever, maybe even Raider Central or the Schleg Daddy, other YouTube individuals as well on the show, that we can have maybe we can have 9 people. Those people and a couple others have this hangout full and have a jam-packed episode next week heading into week 6. You never know. But either way, I thank everybody that has watched live. I did see I had a couple of views tonight, so thank you for your time. And also a little bit for your patience when I talked about some things before giving my predictions and scores. But you gotta add something to the show, or I do. I mean, but anyways, thank you all for watching. Those of you watching in the archive, welcome to follow me on Twitter. There in the banner there in the corner at talking_Packers, and tweet me out if you have your thoughts on what you think of my predictions, and leave that. Obviously, as always, like, share, and comment. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Have a great rest of your weekend and enjoy another week of NFL football. Take care.